ever been in a project that finished way over budget and nobody could explain exactly why? Have you ever seen a cost report in a project that only showed the budget versus the expenditures? Have you ever published or seen a cost report and had no clue what those cost metrics were? If your answer is yes to any of those questions, you either didn't have any cost controller on your team, or your cost controller lacked one of the 5 essential skills that any cost controller must have. Hello everyone, my name is GHORBANI. I'm the founder and director of Project Control Academy, where we help you master your skills and knowledge in project controls. In this training, I'm going to show you the 5 skills that you need to have as a cost controller. If you're someone already working in a project as a cost controller, or someone completely new to project controls, by the end of this training, you will have a good understanding of the top 5 essential skills that you need to possess or improve upon as a cost controller. And when it comes to the skills of a cost controller, there are many skills that I can list. In fact, if you check AAC's International, which AAC stands for American Association of Advancement in Cost Engineering, they have several practice standards, and one of those practice standards is called the required knowledge and skills of a cost engineer. So if you check that guide and document, you will be amazed at the number of knowledge areas that are listed for a cost controller. In this training, my focus is only on the top 5 essential skills that I believe are the must for a cost controller. And this is basically based on my own experience as a cost controller in projects during the course of my career in project controls. So are you ready to know what those 5 skills are? Before revealing you those 5 skills of a cost controller, let's be on the same ground when it comes to cost control. Let's have the same understanding of cost control so that we know what we are talking about. So the role of a cost controller in a project is, a cost controller is responsible for planning, developing, executing, and forecasting the cost of a project. So that's basically what a cost controller do. Cost controller, controlling the cost of a project. So they are really mainly responsible for managing and developing the cost of the project and make sure that there is minimum deviation from the budget, and if there is, come up with a recovery plan to bring the project back on budget. So that's basically what a cost controller does in a project. Now, going back to the 5 skills. The first skill that a cost controller needs to have is they need to have the knowledge of total cost management and cost control. They need to have a fundamental understanding of cost control. They need to know the terminologies and everything. And this is fundamental skill that every cost controller needs to have. For example, you need to know about cost accounting, cost classes, cost types, cost development, change management, and the name and the list basically goes on and on. So you need to really have a good understanding on not only the cost management terminologies, but also understanding of the process, the flow of information, and how basically that cost control function works in a project. If you are someone new in cost control or someone who is interested to move into cost control, the recommended practices or resources that I would like to say about that is these 2 resources from AAC International, Association of Advancement in Cost Engineering. They have very good comprehensive resources when it comes to cost management, and especially I like these 2 practices. One is skills and knowledge of cost engineering. This is a very comprehensive guide in cost engineering that I recommend you to go through that and read that. Even if you are not going through AAC certifications, I still recommend you to go through that book and make yourself familiar with all the terms, all the fundamental understanding, fundamental knowledge of cost management, and really have that ground in place. Another one is Total Cost Management Framework. You can find that resources by checking AAC website, which is here, web.aaci.org, or you can also purchase those from Amazon.com. And whatever it is, I recommend you to find those resources, get them and read them and go through them and apply them in your projects and increase your knowledge in cost management. Okay, the second skill that every cost controller needs to have is knowing how to allocate the budget and establish a cost baseline. In fact, this is one of the first tasks that every cost controller needs to do in every project. But you will be amazed at this simple fact that many cost controllers really don't do a good job at. Let me just be more clear on what this skill is all about. It's about allocating the budget. So when a cost controller is given a project budget, one of their tasks is to allocate the budget to different disciplines, basically break that down, coming up with the right budget for each of those team members, the group of teams, basically the disciplines involved in the project, coming up with a resource plan, and basically plan out the expenditure of the project, how they're going to spend that budget, and also establish a cost baseline, coming up with a baseline, a basis that they're going to measure their cost against, because when they go through the performance of the project, this is one of the key inputs for understanding how they are performing against that basis. So in project control, in cost control, in any of project control areas, one of the first key thing that you need to deliver is the plan, is the baseline. So the same thing here with the cost controller. They need to have a baseline in place so that they can measure the deviations against that baseline in the project execution. And again, that makes sense. That's a very essential skills that every cost controller must have. But during the course of my career, I have seen many people not following that rule. For example, let me give you an example here about the allocation of the budget. I have seen a project where that task was not done properly. All they had was just one liner for the entire project. So everybody was charging their time against that project number, and there was no budget allocation whatsoever. So it was just one line, one budget number for the entire project. And that project was a mid-sized project, so it was not a small project. And 6 months through the execution of the project, client felt something is not right. The expenditures were going to be very high, and the client didn't really know what's going on. So they went back to the project control team of the contractor that they hired, and they asked accurate cost reports and accurate forecasting of the cost. And that was a big problem because they had no budget allocation whatsoever from the beginning of the project. Everybody was charging against one budget line item, and there was no means of really measuring the performance of what they were doing when it comes to cost. So many people, I remember in that project, 3-4 project control lead were involved in that project just to fix that issue. But that was a whole disaster. How we can fix an issue that could have been done earlier in the project, at the beginning of the project, by doing the right allocation of the budget. Nothing can be fixed in the middle of the project when something goes like that. So, and the person who was working on that project was really an intermediate cost controller. So that person was already in the cost control field for a while, but because client didn't have specific requirement for the cost report, he went the easy route and just come up with a one-liner, and then that cost him a lot of problems later on. So really you need to be able to allocate the budget properly in the project at the beginning. Another example that goes about establishing the budget and baseline is my personal experience with one of the subcontractors that we were managing in a project. Every project report that they were issuing to us showed a different budget. And it's okay as long as you have it, you specify what is my original budget, these were the changes, and that's my current budget. No, I'm talking about their baseline budget. Their original budget kept changing in every report, and it was so confusing to follow the reports and understand really their performance when it came to cost. So I have seen that many times in the projects, and many people as cost controllers really lack that essential skill. So if this is something that you don't know, make sure that you get involved in projects from the beginning and learn how to properly allocate the budget and really establishing a project cost baseline. So that was the second skill of a cost controller. Let's move on to the third one. The third skill of a cost controller is knowing earned value in and out. Earned value management, is a very powerful tool if you can implement it properly in projects. And you might be involved in projects that really don't need earned value. I mean, it's not a requirement to implement earned value. So if you're a cost controller, still I highly encourage you to learn earned value, no matter if the organization you're working at knows anything about earned value or have the priority of implementing earned value in their projects or not. This is your responsibility to learn more about earned value. The reason is, as I said, it's a very powerful tool in measuring the performance, especially on cost and schedule and forecasting. If you can implement earned value properly in projects, you can have more accurate forecasting and as compared to any other methods. So if this is a skill that you haven't invested the time and energy on, I highly encourage you to go ahead and learn that skill and learn that management area and try to apply it in at least a project and see the impact that it creates. And by the way, most people get confused when it comes to earned value. They think that it's just a number of metrics, and if they can just go and memorize those metrics, they know earned value. No, in order to know earned value and to implement it, you need to have it, from the planning to the execution in projects properly. And you need to know it in and out. You need to, by looking at a earned value report in front of you, you need to understand really what's causing the issues and what the forecast is. You need to be able to analyze the report, and the list goes on and on. You need to know earned value in and out if you're a cost controller, in my opinion. So if this is something that you need to improve upon, I have two good resources for you. There are two online training programs that are very comprehensive when it comes to earned value management, and you can take them at your own pace. One is Essentials of Earned Value Management, and another is Mastering Earned Value Management for Project Success, which is more advanced level earned value training, where it walks you through a real project from the beginning to the end, and you implement earned value on that project. So it's more practical application of earned value. This one gives you the foundation. So if this is something you're looking for in your advancement to advance your career in cost control, these two trainings I highly recommend. You can check projectcontroltraining.com/EVM to know more about these trainings and start learning earned value. Okay, that was, I believe, the third skill. The fourth skill of a cost controller, as I already mentioned about, is someone who can analyze a cost report and communicate the result of a cost report properly to the team members. I have seen many cost controllers who do a very good job in putting together the data, generate fancy reports, but they cannot communicate the results properly to the team members. Some of those cost reports might be complex, and the team members might have no clue what the issue might be. They cannot really interpret a cost report. This is your responsibility as a cost controller to effectively communicate the cost results to the project team members and make them aware of any budget issues or any cost-related issues that they are facing. And this is really what I have seen. Many cost controllers don't take the time to educate the team or properly communicate the result of their cost report to the team. And some of cost controller just issue a report, send it out to the team, and they also have no clue what's going on. They don't take the time to analyze the report. And how many times you have seen that? And you are just busy doing something, putting together the report to just meet that deadline. You don't have a time to analyze it, or you don't know how to analyze the report. So this is really a key skill for a cost controller, because you are dealing with a lot of data, numbers. You need to be able to analyze the cost report and effectively communicate that to the project team members. Okay, the last skill of a cost controller is having proficiency in Microsoft Excel or a cost control tool or software that your organization is using. The reason I put Microsoft Excel as a primary skill for you to know and master at is because no matter what kind of project control system or software you are using, most probably you are using that information and generate some reports or graphs out of it in Excel. And you're working with a large number of data and numbers. So Excel is a very good tool that you need to master, and you will see many cost controllers using Excel as their primary tool. Some companies even don't have any cost control software, so their own main tool is Microsoft Excel. So you have to make sure that you're really proficient in Microsoft Excel, know that in and out, know all the formulas, know how to do graphing and everything else. And if you are basic in Microsoft Excel, make sure that you take the time to learn more about that tool and master that tool in your work and in the projects that you're involved in. So these were basically the 5 key essential skills that I have seen for cost controllers, and I recommend you to master those. Again, let me wrap those up. The first skill is the knowledge in total cost management and concepts and terminologies. You need to have a good foundation. You need to educate yourself and keep learning on cost management. The second skill is know how to allocate the budget and establish a cost baseline. The third skill is knowing earned value management in and out. The fourth skill is analyzing the reports and effectively communicating the reports and results to the project team. And finally, knowing Microsoft Excel very good and know how to apply that tool in your projects. So these are the 5 essential skills that you need to master as a cost controller in projects. If you'd like to learn more on how to succeed as a cost controller or how to succeed as a project controller, make sure that you check out this course, a Project Control Success Roadmap Training. You can check that out at projectcontroltraining.com and learn more about how you can succeed as a project controller and as a cost controller as well. So if you have any question about this training, make sure that you post your questions or comments down below. I will make sure that I will respond to as many questions as I can. And if you like this training, if you thought it's beneficial, make sure that you share it with other people, and don't forget to hit the like button. Until the next episode of Project Control Mastery Training, do your best in everything that you do. Master those 5 skills of a cost controller and make a difference in your projects, my friend.